Why hello there friends and welcome to my channel. I really wanted to record out today, but we have a storm coming, so I'm really hoping that I can get this story time done by the time the storm comes. If you have any sort of medical condition or weird genetic oddity, is it something that you have ever used to get yourself out of trouble before? Because let me tell you about the one time that I dislocated my own thumb to get myself out of handcuffs when I got held up at knife point. It is a wild story. That is only part of the details. Let's jump right into it. So I think the year is around 2005, 2006, sometime around then. I am working for a game shop that has that's in a strip center. I'm sure most of you can guess because there were only a couple companies like that back then. So the reason I came to work at this store was because the guy who managed the store, the assistant manager, had been robbed at gunpoint. They had him on the floor on his knees, the gun to the back of his head. They pulled out his license. They're like, we know where you live. We're gonna go, this bullet's for you, this bullet's for your wife, this bullet's for your daughter. It was a really effed up situation. And so I knew I was coming back from having wrist surgery and my position had been filled and the only position that was available was this position. And I was really scared up front from the very beginning. I really didn't want to do it based on what that guy had been through. But basically what we had decided was that I was never going to open or close the store by myself because at the time there was a ring of people that went and they burglarized all of these places and it tended to be first thing in the morning or late at night. So the PlayStation Portable PSP had just come out and our store had a ton of them at the moment. And it was a morning that I was supposed to be opening with my boss and she got sick and she called me and she's like, it's just going to be this morning. Can you just, work this one morning? And I'm like, just this one time. Now, turns out they must have been casing my store that day. They saw that it was just me and three people, two guys and a chick came in and held me up at knife point. And, they wanted me to give them all of the PSPs and all of the money and all that jazz. And honestly, it was not my stuff. And I was not about to be the savior of the day for somebody else's property. So obviously I just gave them all of the stuff. And then they handcuffed me to the radiator in the back office. Now, when I say that I was the only person opening, I was the only person that was scheduled to be in that store that day until 6 p.m. So I'm sitting there handcuffed to this radiator just freaking the frick out because I'm like, who is gonna find me first off? And how long is that gonna be? So I didn't know that I had EDS at the time, but I knew that I had really loose joints and I knew that in martial arts classes, I had dislocated my thumb before. So I just start hitting my thumb until it finally pops out. Fortunately, it did not take that much effort because my thumbs are loosey-goosey and I managed to slip out of the handcuffs. But at this point in time, I don't know where these people were. And as these people were leading me around the store with the knife, they were making it really clear, you're gonna stay back here. If you try to follow us, we're gonna come to your house and we're gonna kill you, that kind of stuff. So I sit back there for what probably turned out to be about an hour. Then I start to feel a little bit safer. Now, we were a store that did not do a lot of business in the morning. So there were no customers who would come through. And as I'm trying to sneak out of the back room where I had been handcuffed, I hear somebody out in the other room. And I'm like, I couldn't process how much time had passed because they had taken my phone and they had thrown it someplace that I couldn't easily find. It was bound behind the trash can up in front. I didn't find that until the cops came later, so I didn't really have any good sense of time. They had taken the one-time device because it was our security camera system. So I'm thinking that it's these criminals coming back and that they're gonna hurt me because I've slipped out, but thank God it is the FedEx guy. I tell him, I've been robbed, and there are two people that I wish to this day that I could find, and one is the FedEx guy and the other is a chick who worked at Singular, the cell phone place. There was a Singular next door to us, and the FedEx guy, he was on his route, so he couldn't stay with me, so he didn't want to leave me alone, so he grabs me and he grabs me, but he's like, hey, I'm here. I'm because he was somebody that I vaguely knew, at least. He was somewhat familiar and he didn't want to leave me alone. And I was losing it. I was crying at this point in time because I had kept everything bottled in because I was afraid I was going to die up to the point that I saw the FedEx guy. I started crying when the FedEx guy comes in. So he takes me next door to this girl who works at the Singular store and she sits with me until the cops come and she calls my mom, and my district manager lived in the area. So I called my mom and my district manager and they both arrived arrived at the same time. And my mom went mama bear on him. My mother does not like the F word. My mom does not cuss too much in general, but she swore that day. She went up to that manager. She's like, "What the fuck were you thinking? Having a young girl working in this store by herself?" And I was like, I'd never seen my mom that upset before. And the manager has the balls to come up to me and be like, "Oh, so you're gonna be working tomorrow, right?" And my mother is like, no, the fuck she isn't. She fucking quits. And my mom quit my job for me. Fortunately, I had a lot of retail experience, so I found a job pretty quickly after that. And I still don't go into those like strip center stores much to this day because they're just way too easy to get robbed at. But that's my story. Anybody else retail horror stories been robbed or anything interesting like that? Have had a party trick get you out of trouble? I'm gonna be doing more like story time type videos like this, so let me know what kind of things you like to hear stories about, and thank you so very much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye.